In the corner, a Doberman stood still, his eyes locked on the crib. Parents whispered nervously, unsure if they could ever trust him. They loved both, their loyal dog and their fragile little child. But fear crept in, whispering stories of claws, teeth, and instincts. The father kept his distance. The mother stayed tense with worry. The Doberman tilted his head, sensing something had changed. Days passed. The dog was kept behind gates and closed doors. Yet every cry from the baby made him whine, softly and painfully. He wasn't angry. He was trying to understand this tiny human one evening. The baby's laughter broke through the tension. The sound made the Doberman's ears perk up with curiosity. The father hesitated, but something inside told him to wait. He opened the gate. The air froze with silent anticipation. The dog walked forward, slow and cautious. Step by step, the baby reached out, giggling, tiny fingers stretching wide. The Doberman lowered his head, nose brushing the baby's hand. No growl, no bark, just a deep sigh, calm and protective. The parents looked on, eyes filling with tears they couldn't hide. In that moment, fear died, and love took its place forever. The first week at home felt like walking on a thin line of fear. Every time the Doberman moved, the mother's heart would race. His paws clicked on the floor, echoing like danger in her ears. The father stood guard, always keeping one eye on the crib. Their loyal dog, once a family hero, now felt like a threat. He didn't understand the sudden change, the cold looks, the walls. He'd sit by the nursery door, his tail low, waiting for permission, but none came. Only silence, only distance, only doubt. The baby's soft cries made him whine. Restless and confused, he'd nudge the door gently, hoping they'd let him protect her. At night, he'd lie near the crib's room, guarding from afar. The parents couldn't see it. Love doesn't always roar loud. They saw danger where there was loyalty trying to be patient. The dog's eyes told stories of confusion, care and heartbreak. Each passing day, he watched the baby grow from the shadows, and though rejected, he never barked, never disobeyed, never left. The house felt divided, love trapped behind invisible lines, but sometimes fate waits quietly for the perfect moment to heal. The Doberman didn't know it yet, but his time was coming soon, and when it came, it would change their lives forever. He could hear the baby's laughter. Through the walls of distance, every giggle was a melody that made his tail softly wag. He didn't understand why laughter was forbidden to be shared. Behind that closed door, his loyalty burned like a quiet flame. He'd sit for hours, unmoving, guarding from the other side. Each cry made him restless. Every giggle made him calm again. The father peeked once, saw those eyes, full of silent devotion. It wasn't the look of danger. It was the look of pure love, but fear blinds faster than love can open the eyes. The mother still trembled, torn between instinct and love. She remembered stories, tragedies blamed on trust too soon. Yet deep down, something told her this dog was different. He didn't want the baby's toys, just her presence, her peace. Sometimes he'd nudge her blanket through the gap under the door. Tiny gestures that spoke louder than words ever could. Nights felt longer, colder without his soft breathing nearby, and every morning he'd wait again, loyal as the sunrise. Behind that door stood a love too pure to be feared. It only needed one open moment to be understood, and that moment was closer than they could ever imagine. One night, a storm raged through the sky like angry thunder.
Lightning flashed. The baby screamed.
Crying out in terror, the Doberman barked, desperate, scratching the closed door. His instinct screamed louder than any human warning could. The parents rushed to the crib,
Hearts pounding in panic, but the baby wouldn't stop crying. Trembling, breathless, the dog howled again.
breaking the silence of fear. The father hesitated, then opened the door just slightly, and there he was, eyes wide, tail still, heart racing. He didn't rush, didn't bark, just walked slowly toward her. The baby's cries softened at the sound of his gentle sniff. He lowered his head, resting it near the crib's wooden edge. In seconds, the storm outside felt quieter.
Calmer? Distant? The baby stopped crying, reaching
Her hand toward him. A small finger touched his nose, and he froze completely. Still, that one touch broke through every wall of
misunderstanding. The mother's tears fell.
freely, fear melting into awe, because in that storm she saw the truth she'd hidden from. The danger they feared was the very soul keeping her safe. And from that night,
Nothing would ever be the same again. The next morning,
silence filled the room like a sacred peace. The Doberman still lay near the crib, watching softly, calmly. The father entered quietly, eyes fixed on the strange sight. He expected danger, found devotion instead. The mother clutched his arm.
afraid to breathe too loud, but the baby's laughter broke the tension in the air. Tiny fingers tangled in the dog's short black fur. The Doberman stayed still, eyes gentle, breath steady. The father whispered,
He's protecting her.
in disbelief. The mother wiped tears she didn't know she had. All this time,
Fear had built walls around their hearts, but love, silent and patient, had been waiting to enter. She reached out. Her hand, trembling, touched the dog's head. He didn't flinch, only sighed, leaning slightly toward her. It was the first touch of trust after months of fear, and it changed the rhythm of their home forever. They learned that love isn't loud. It's steady, loyal, and kind. Sometimes it hides behind the eyes we're too afraid to meet. That morning, their family finally became whole again, and the Doberman, the one they feared, became their peace. Days passed, and the bond between them grew deeper. The baby would giggle every time the dog entered the room. The Doberman's eyes followed her like a guardian's prayer. He'd sit close, not too near, just enough to keep her safe. One day, the father decided to remove the gate forever. No more walls,
no more fear, but just faith in love. As the gate opened,
sunlight poured into the hallway. The Doberman stepped forward, cautious but calm. The baby reached out again, fearless, smiling wide. Her laughter echoed through the room like pure joy. He sniffed her hands, then gently rested his head beside her. It was trust in its purest, simplest form. The mother captured that moment, a memory for life. Two souls, one innocent, one loyal, finally together. Neighbors came, shocked to see the gentle bond unfold, but
only the parents knew what it truly meant. It wasn't just about love. It
was about redemption. The dog they doubted became the
angel they prayed for, and the home once
divided was now bound by faith, because love always wins.
Even over fear itself, the baby's laughter became the
heartbeat of the home. Each morning began. With tiny giggles and gentle sniffs, the Doberman would sit beside the crib, never looking away. His presence was calm, protective, yet beautifully soft. The parents watched, still amazed by what love could do. Gone were the chains of fear, gone were the anxious nights. The dog's every move spoke of care,
of devotion, of peace. When the baby cried,
he'd whine softly, nudging her blanket. When she laughed, he'd wag his tail like pure sunlight. The house felt alive again, not in fear, but in faith. Visitors gasped, unable to believe what they were seeing. A once feared protector had become a guardian angel. The mother smiled, whispering, "He's not just a dog anymore." The father nodded, eyes filled with gratitude and awe. The Doberman had earned back their trust, step by step. And the baby, she adored him like her first true friend. Their bond wasn't forced. It was born from something divine, two souls connected without words, only through heartbeats. A touch that once scared them now melted every single doubt. Because real love always returns. Stronger, softer, eternal. Months passed,
and their stories spread through the neighborhood. Doberman came to witness what love and trust had
created. They saw a baby and a Doberman sharing pure harmony. The same dog once called too dangerous now stood as family. Every moment was a living proof of what faith could heal. The baby learned to crawl. Her little hands reached for him. He'd step back gently, as if protecting her from herself. When she fell, he'd nudge her softly to help her up. The parents would laugh through tears,
hearts full of pride. This was no longer fear. This was the meaning of family. Each photograph told a chapter of loyalty and
redemption. Each day reminded them that love can rewrite any story. Tati's father would often sit beside them in quiet reflection, thinking
how close they came to losing this miracle. The
Doberman never asked for forgiveness. He just proved it. His silence became their greatest teacher of trust. They learned that love isn't about blood or breed. It's about the soul that chooses to protect without being
asked. Their home no longer echoed with fear, only
gratitude. And in that peace, they found the truest meaning of love. Peace. They found the truest meaning of love.
As time flowed, so did the laughter through their home. The baby grew.
But the Doberman's devotion never changed. He'd sleep near her bed every night like a silent guardian. Each morning, she'd wake him up with soft little giggles. Their bond had become unbreakable, pure, unshakable. When storms came, she'd hide in his fur and fall asleep. When strangers knocked, he'd stand tall, protective and calm. The parents finally slept without fear, only with trust. Their hearts knew that no harm could touch their child now. Because love like his doesn't rest. It watches, it guards. Even when the baby started to walk, he followed her steps. Not too close, never in her way, just enough to guide. Each stumble was met with a gentle nudge or soft paw. The house that once echoed fear now hummed with peace. Friends who visited would smile, unable to hold their tears. The sight of innocence and loyalty side by side was healing. It reminded them that the purest bonds need no explanation. Every laugh, every nap, every day was filled with warmth. The family knew this was no coincidence. It was destiny, written by love itself. Years passed, and the baby began to walk and talk. Her first word wasn't Mom or Dad. It was his name. The Doberman barked softly, wagging his tail in pure joy. The parents watched, hearts breaking in the sweetest way. The protector they once feared had become her first love. He followed her to every corner,
Every room, every step when she was sick.
He'd stay by her bed without moving. When she laughed, he'd rest his head on her lap, content. Every glance from him carried a promise. "I'm here." The neighbors who once whispered now smiled in wonder. The same dog that once scared them now made them believe that every creature has a soul capable of love. He wasn't just protecting her body, he was guarding her
Spirit. Their connection went beyond words.
beyond understanding. The father often said,
He's her angel in disguise, and truly, that's what he became. Her silent guardian. The mother, once afraid,
now trusted him more than anyone because love had proved its power, stronger than fear. The Doberman didn't just protect a child, he transformed a home, and the family's story became a living miracle of trust. As the baby grew older, so did their timeless friendship. They'd sit together by the window, watching the sunset. The Doberman's muzzle turned grey, but his eyes stayed kind. She'd talk to him for hours. Stories, secret dreams. He'd listen silently, tail wagging, never once looking away. He had been there for every step.
every tear, every laugh. Years may have changed the world.
But not their hearts. The family often watched them, smiling through gentle tears. Because love like this doesn't happen twice in one life. It's rare, it's pure, it's a gift beyond understanding. The baby, now a child, called him her brave brother. And that's exactly what he was. Loyal, gentle, eternal. When she fell asleep, he'd lie beside her, always guarding. Even in dreams, she felt safe, because he was near. The parents often whispered, he was sent for her. And in truth, maybe he was, to teach them what love means. Their story wasn't about fear or danger anymore. It was about faith, forgiveness, and second chances. The Doberman's legacy lived in every heartbeat of that home, a love story between two souls. That time could never break. Sometimes fear blinds us to the beauty right before our eyes. The ones we doubt may be the ones sent to protect us most. Love doesn't roar. It whispers in loyalty and quiet strength. Trust takes time, but when it blooms, it heals everything. A heart that
Loves without judgment can change any
story. This Doberman didn't just guard a child, he guarded love itself. He proved that gentleness can live inside the strongest hearts. That loyalty isn't earned by blood, but by pure intention. In a world full of fear, this bond became a miracle of faith, and it reminds us all, never fear love, just understand it. Understand it.